Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about in what settings does health promotion take place. And we're going to explore a variety of different settings. And this short introduction is just to kind of get you oriented to what we will be discussing. Okay, so in revisiting the Ottawa Charter, we know that health is created and lived by people within the setting of their everyday life. And so, for the focus of the next few chapters that you'll be reading over the next 2 weeks, and also the focus of our lectures, is how to incorporate health promotion interventions into various different settings. So, we want to create supportive environments using the settings approach, because if we think about it, going back to what the Ottawa Charter says, health is created and lived by people within the setting of their everyday life. And so the purpose of using a settings approach is to really meet people where they're at. So this includes using an ecological model, which we briefly touched on in previous lectures, but as a reminder, the ecological model is multi-tiered, so it's not just looking at the individual, but it's also looking at community, at policy. It's looking at big picture things, the environment in which the health promotion intervention will be taking place. Additionally, um, if we're using the settings approach and thinking about health promotion interventions for different settings, we're thinking systemically, we're thinking holistically, and we're thinking population focused and not just individual focused. In other words, these are going to be big picture interventions that take into account the entire environment in which the health promotion intervention will be taking place. The ultimate goal using a settings approach is to enmesh health promotion activities into routine activities, health promotion interventions into routine activities. So using schools as an example, that will be one of the settings we discuss. How can we incorporate a health promotion intervention into routine activities that children are doing in school every day anyways? The idea here is to make it more of a long-term focus and make it sustainable. When people are encountered with these interventions in everyday routine activities that they're already doing, it's much more likely that they're going to be able to stick with them and make positive change for the future. And so the background and rationale here, settings for health, really our settings include the place or social context in which people engage in daily activities in which environmental, organizational, and personal factors interact to affect health and well-being. So this is where people actively use and shape the environment and create or solve problems relating to health normally. So having physical boundaries, a range of people with defined roles, and an organizational structure. So this was the World Health Organization kind of definition for what a settings for health approach is going to a settings approach to health promotion is going to look like. Um, we're focusing here on the how context influences health. So that's kind of a key aspect to this whole module that we're going to be discussing over the next 2 weeks. How context influences health. The environment in which we live, work, and play is going to influence the health or the healthy or unhealthy decisions that we make, right? So by investing in these social systems where people spend their daily lives and investing in the settings in which people spend their daily lives, the ultimate goal is to improve their health using an approach and incorporating these things into their everyday routine activities. Finally, the settings approach assumes that the definition of health, or that health is an asset of the setting and an outcome of its effective functioning. So essentially, our health is the product of the environment in which we are brought up in which we are routinely enmeshed in. And so we will be discussing a variety of different settings over the course of this module. You will have the ability to complete this module over the next 2 weeks, so it's a little bit different than previous modules that we've done that have focused more on 1 week chunks, but this time you're going to focus over the next 2 weeks because I really felt that it's important to look at these settings from a big picture perspective, to get a better understanding of how they are different, how the different settings are different, and your approaches will be different, but also some similarities and overlap. So that is just a brief introduction to what we will be discussing in our future in the future lecture material for this module, and I hope you enjoy it.